It is past midnight, and the room has gone the specific kind of quiet that only happens when no one else is in it. Your hand finds your phone before you decide to reach for it. You open the same 3 apps in the same order, and you tell yourself you are only checking, but you know what you are actually hunting for. A voice, a reply, one small flicker of someone, anyone, confirming that you are still here, still wanted, still real. Here is the thing you have never said out loud, not even to yourself. A part of you is afraid of the silence, not bored by it, afraid of it. Because in the silence there is no one to react to, no one to perform for, no one to hand you back a version of who you are. And without that mirror held up in front of your face, you are not certain anything remains. I want you to stay with that fear for a moment, because it is the most expensive thing you own. Every person whose attention you cannot do without is a person who can move you wherever they please. Every empty evening you cannot survive on your own is a handle bolted onto your back for someone else to grab. The Stoics had a word for the opposite of this condition: autarkeia, self-sufficiency, whole in yourself, complete without anything added from outside. And they grasped something we have almost entirely forgotten. The one who can be genuinely alone cannot be purchased with company, cannot be bribed with approval, and cannot be steered by the threat of being left. This is not a sermon about hiding from people. It is not about turning cold or vanishing on the ones who love you. It is about building an inner home so solid that company becomes something you choose freely instead of a substance you need to function. Stay with me all the way to the end, because I am going to walk you through the exact disciplines these philosophers used to become free of the crowd, so that the crowd quietly loses its grip on you. 1. The empty room is a test, and you have been failing it night after night. Picture a man in a campaign tent on a freezing northern frontier, at the very edge of an empire, a single oil lamp throwing its small circle of light. He is the most powerful human being alive. He could summon any company on earth with a word. Instead, he writes, for no audience, in words he never intended another living soul to read. Marcus Aurelius composed his private notebook, the Meditations, in exactly this kind of solitude. And the instruction he returns to is this: men look for places to withdraw, in the countryside, by the shore, up in the hills. Yet nowhere can a person find a retreat more untroubled than within his own mind. He kept telling himself to step back again and again into that interior place. Notice the move he is making. The retreat is not a destination. It is a faculty he is training. He is teaching himself that he carries the one refuge that cannot be confiscated, that requires no travel, no guest, no signal. And because he could enter it whenever he wished, no flatterer in his court owned him, and no enemy massed across the river could ever starve him of his peace. You have lost the address of that room, so let us make it concrete. Tonight, sit for 10 minutes with no screen, no music, no input of any kind. You are not meditating, not optimizing yourself, not fixing anything. You are simply present inside your own quiet. The first several attempts will feel like a craving clawing at you, because that is precisely what it is. You are coming off the need to be reflected back at yourself. Keep returning until the empty room stops feeling like a threat and begins to feel like the safest place you know. Everything that follows is built on the floor of that room. 2. You are bleeding power to everyone whose face you keep scanning for a reaction. There is an old account of Diogenes, the cynic who lived inside a large ceramic storage jar in Athens, owned almost nothing, and answered to no one. Alexander the Great, the most powerful man on the planet, sought him out and offered to grant him anything he could name. Diogenes, stretched out in the sun, asked only that the king stop blocking his light. The Stoics, who studied the cynics closely, took a hard lesson from that scene. Alexander could give Diogenes nothing of value, because Diogenes wanted nothing from him. And a person who wants nothing from you cannot be governed by you. The Stoics named the mechanism precisely. Unchecked desire is the rope by which others lead you. The instant you require someone's approval, their company, their good opinion of you, you have tied that rope around your own neck and pressed the loose end into their hand. Most of the control other people have over you is control you handed them, one small need at a time, so make it concrete. For 1 week, simply observe yourself in conversation. Catch the tiny bids as they leave you. The joke aimed at winning a laugh. The opinion sanded down to earn a nod. The message you sent a second time because the first one went unanswered, and the silence felt unbearable. Each of these is a small leak in the hull. You do not have to become cold or guarded. You only have to see the leaking, because you cannot seal a leak you refuse to look at. Honest awareness on its own will close half of them within days. 3. Self-sufficiency is not a mood that visits you. It is a structure you build with your own hands. The Stoics never believed wholeness simply descended from the sky onto the lucky. Zeno of Citium, who founded the entire school, lost everything in a shipwreck before he became a philosopher at all. He washed up in Athens, a ruined merchant with no cargo, no fortune, and no plan, and only from that wreckage did he begin the work that eventually made him unshakable. He is remembered for saying that he had made a prosperous voyage precisely when he was shipwrecked, because losing everything outside himself finally forced him to discover what was inside. That is the Stoic claim in its most demanding form. What is genuinely yours is only what cannot be taken from you: your judgment, your character, the way you choose to respond. Everything else, the company, the praise, the warm room crowded with admirers, is on loan. And to construct your life on borrowed things is to build your house on another man's land and call it home. So make it concrete. Identify one capacity you currently outsource to other people for your sense of who you are. Perhaps it is needing a partner present to feel you have worth. Perhaps it is a group chat to feel you belong. Perhaps it is an audience to feel competent at anything. Pick exactly one. For 30 days, practice supplying it to yourself. Eat a meal alone at a restaurant and taste the food rather than managing how it looks. Finish something genuinely good and let it stay good without announcing it to a single person. You are not punishing yourself. You are gathering proof day by day that the ground beneath you holds your weight. 4. Solitude is where you finally meet the one person you can never walk away from. Seneca, writing to his friend Lucilius, reports a quiet milestone. He says he has begun to be a friend to himself. He means it almost literally. He has learned to become good company for the single human being who is present at every moment of his entire life. And in those same letters, he warns against the man who cannot endure his own presence, who flees himself, who fills his days with travel and crowds and wine for the express purpose of never sitting in the silence where he would have to face who he actually is. The crowd very often is simply an anesthetic. We do not always seek other people because we love them. Sometimes we seek them because being alone with ourselves has become intolerable, and noise is far cheaper than repair. But Seneca turns the whole thing around. If you cannot bear to be alone with yourself, the problem was never the solitude. The problem is the self you have not yet done the work of making worth keeping company. So make it concrete. The next time you feel the pull to drown a silence in people or sound, pause and put one honest question to yourself. Am I reaching out because I genuinely want to connect with this person, or because I am running from being alone with myself? If it is connection, then go, and go with your whole heart. If it is flight, then stay, and meet whatever you were sprinting away from. Almost always, the thing you have been avoiding turns out to be far smaller than all the energy you spent avoiding it. 5. The whole man chooses his company. The hollow man is chosen by whoever happens to be there. Musonius Rufus, the great Roman teacher who counted Epictetus among his students, was banished into exile more than once, on one occasion to a bleak and almost barren island. He did not crumble. He taught philosophy on the rock, drew students who sailed out across open water to find him, and treated banishment as simply another location in which to practice virtue. Exile, which is forced solitude at its most brutal and absolute, could not break a man who had already become whole long before they ever sent him away. That is the entire purpose of the discipline. The Stoics did not train solitude so that you would retreat into a cave and abandon the human race. They trained it so that your connections would finally become clean. When you do not need a person, you can at last love them without strangling them. When you do not need the room's approval, you can finally tell the room the truth. Self-sufficiency does not make you distant or cold. It makes you honest, because you no longer have anything to lose by being honest. So make it concrete. Look hard at your closest relationships and ask which of them you are gripping too tightly, out of fear rather than out of love. Then loosen that grip, not by caring less, but by needing less. Let people remain in your life because they truly want to be there, not because you have engineered yourself to be unable to survive their absence. You will discover something strange. They stay more, and they stay more freely, because no one wants the job of being another person's life support. 6. What cannot be threatened cannot be commanded. Epictetus was born into slavery. His leg, by most accounts, was crippled for life, And yet he became one of the freest men who has ever lived, because he located his freedom in the one territory no master could ever enter: his own will, his own assent, the inner stronghold no one but him held the key to. He taught that some things are within our power and some are not, and that the whole of our suffering comes from clutching at the things that were never ours to control. Apply that single distinction to solitude and the entire picture clarifies. Whether other people are present is not up to you. Whether they approve of you is not up to you. Whether they stay or walk out the door is not in the end up to you. But your own wholeness, your capacity to stand firmly on your own ground, that is completely up to you, and it is the one possession no person alive can confiscate. Build there, and you become, in the deepest possible sense, impossible to govern. Not because you defy people, but because there is simply no handle left on you for anyone to seize. So make it concrete. Name the one person or group whose possible withdrawal you have secretly organized your entire life around. The one whose silence can ruin an otherwise good day. Now do the inner labor of releasing the outcome while fully keeping the love. Decide deliberately and in advance that you would grieve their leaving and you would also survive it. The very moment you can say that and mean it, their power over you quietly dissolves, and whatever is left between the two of you is finally free to be real. Let me draw all 6 threads into one. The person who can be alone owns everything, not because he has accumulated more, but because he can be stripped of nothing essential. He cannot be bought with company because he is not starving for it. He cannot be bribed with approval because he has stopped trading pieces of himself to get it. He cannot be controlled through the fear of being left because he has already made his peace with the empty room and found, to his surprise, that it is warm. This is the autarkeia these philosophers spent their lives pursuing, a self so complete that other people become a genuine joy rather than a desperate need. And the paradox sitting at the very center of it is this: the more whole you are when you are alone, the better you become with everyone. The less you need them, the more truly you are able to love them. Mastered solitude does not wall you off from the world. It hands you back to the world unleashed, free to give precisely because you are no longer frantic to receive. So build the room. Sit in the silence until it stops sounding like an accusation. Seal the leaks, one honest conversation at a time. Become the friend to yourself that Seneca described, the man Musonius remained on his island, the unbroken will Epictetus carried out of slavery. Need no one's presence to feel complete, and watch how much of your own power comes flooding back from every person you used to chase. I have left a free Stoic Field guide in the description below, with the core practices for building exactly this kind of inner self-sufficiency, drawn straight from these same philosophers. Take it, use it. And if this is the kind of work you actually want to do, subscribe and stay. Not for noise, not for a crowd, but for a small circle of people who would rather master themselves than spend their lives chasing the world. Until next time, be sovereign.